Hey, how's it going, guys? Daniel of these 7Cs. Today, I actually want to do a long-term review or a longer-term review on this guy. So, I actually made like an unboxing and first impressions video of this guy a few weeks back, and I've pretty much carried this guy consistently every day. Not every day, but almost every day. I've used it, I've carried it, and now have a better idea of how it you know works as an everyday carry. Now, this is the Hinderer XM18 3.5-inch non-flipper in that S45 VN. This is the latest drop of the non-flippers from Hinderer. As of the making of this video, which is August of 2023, he's had several drops on his website and at the authorized dealer. So I don't know if they're still readily available, but I do see these pop up pretty regularly in the secondary market for about 400 to about 450 or 460. I think that's very much fair because this thing, honestly, it's the best configuration Hinder that I've ever owned. I've had several XM18s in the 3-inch, some 3.5. I've had several Eclipse. I've had the what else? The XM18 where it's like a traditional slip joint. Yeah, I think it's the slippy version. And out of all those, honestly, this thing right here, the 3.5 non-flipper, gosh, it's a win for me. This is if I had to just choose one hinder for the rest of my life, it'd be this guy. Um, why is that? First of all, it feels so good in the hand. I mean, I think the general consensus is that Hinder knives are very comfortable, or at least moderately to very comfortable in the hand. You kind of have, a lot of kind of the curves going on to really accommodate the kind of the organic shape of the hand, right? One of the issues that I had though was really the flipper. Is that I felt like the shape of the flipper was it was cool. It was effective as a flipper, but when it was in the open position, especially the 3-inch version, it felt a little bit awkward. It felt a little bit uncomfortable in the hand, and so I always wanted to get a non-flipper because I feel like that would having without the flipper, I felt like it was gonna be super comfortable, and boy was I right because this thing is money right here. This thing feels so good in the hand. If I back out, this also feels very good. Most of my cutting task, I'm using that pinch grip, and so this feels very comfortable as well. Ooh, excuse me. But I would say overall, this is just an incredibly oh man, excuse me. This is incredibly just comfortable like knife to hold and to use for an extended period of time. Now, the second thing I do that I love about this knife is Hinder's S45 VN. I know Hinder uses a lot of different blade steels. He uses M390, 20CV, S35, S45 VN, so on and so forth. But I feel like in terms of like their heat treat, the way they sharpen their knives, I feel like they really, really just hit the jackpot in the way they do their S45VN. I haven't heard any complaints about their 45VN. I've heard some issues with their M390, the Magna Cut, so on and so forth. I've never personally owned knives in those steels, so I can't speak to that. But in terms of their S45VN, it seems like folks love the S45VN, or at least there's no issues with the S45VN. And so, honestly, I really prefer this blade steel over their Magna Cut or even their M390, even though it is a more exotic or high end steel. But one thing that I think is important to note is that just because a blade steel is a higher end blade steel doesn't necessarily mean that's going to perform better than a lower tier steel, right? Because it's not just about the actual material of the steel, but it's also the way they heat treat it, they grind it, right? And so you could have like a high end steel like M390 or Magna Cut, but if you don't heat treat it correctly or to its optimal kind of that performance range, then really like you're not getting the best out of that steel, right? And so I feel like with Hinder, they really, I don't know what they did, but they seem to have really dialed in their heat treat and the way they grind. And yeah, just really just, you know, um, work with this steel. And like I said, I've used this knife on several occasions, and it's kept a really nice edge, really good edge, no chips, no rolls. I haven't sharpened it yet, but I would imagine that, it's gonna sharpen just as it's, supposed to sharpen. All right. But yeah, overall, I feel like it's a very good all around everyday kind of a steel. You're not, I'm not hacking wood with this. I'm not cutting through sheet metal and copper wires. But even if I had to, I wouldn't be, I wouldn't, what do you call it? Be afraid to use this knife for things of that nature, because I feel like it'd be relatively easy to sharpen and maintain, right? So yeah, there's that. What else? Oh gosh, yeah. I can't. I need to mention this, but what I love about Hinder is that it's not a one size fit all type of approach when it comes to their detent and their action, right? I feel pretty much all the Hinder knives I've had except for this one, they have a really strong detent, right, to really accommodate that flipping action. It comes out with authority, with the quickness, and so their detents are on the harder end. But when it came to a non-flipper, I could tell they tuned their detent so that it's not hard, but it's just right, so that you're not going to be struggling to open this knife with your thumb, or if you want to just, do the spidey flick, or if you just want to slow roll it, yeah, I could definitely tell difference between their flipper and their non-flipper. They've definitely tuned this on the lighter side for sure, and I'm so grateful that Rick Hinder did that, because if they kept the same kind of the strength of the detent of the flipper into this guy, man, it'd be such a pain to open. But Rick Hinder, being a very thoughtful guy, it seems, his company is that they're like, what, we need to tune this action and the detent so that it's easier to open with the thumb, or what have you, right? And so, man, I love, it's perfect. The detent, it feels so precise. It doesn't really have any like detent lash. It feels just very like it's fitted for this knife. And then boom. This knife definitely has broken in. When I first got this knife, I felt like it was a little bit harder to open, but now it's just like money. It's so easy to open. I could spidey flick it. I could thumb flick it. I could kind of do this thing with it. Boom. I could slow roll it open if I wanted. This is running on their tri-way, the bearings right now, and this thing is, action is so good, guys. Look at that. It's just, it's like drop shut pretty much. There you go. Look at that. Oh, this action is so good. I love the action on this guy. It's broken in so good. It's so smooth. Just, oh my gosh. This is addictive. You know, this is an addictive action. Yeah. And it's just rock solid lockup. Blade centered. Aside from all the crazy screws that you need to take apart, once you put it back together, it's kind of like set it and forget it type of deal. It's just, I haven't had any issues with the screws like backing out or the blade not getting centered. It's pretty much set where I set it. Hasn't moved anywhere. The lockup is rock solid. This is really such a good knife, guys. Such a good knife. Yeah. I do hope that Rick Hinder makes more of these non-flippers. I know he's made a ton. This last go around, it seems like there was drops everywhere, and so it was fairly available. I do have seen some 3-inch non-flippers as well. But yeah, this thing is so good, guys. Yeah, and it cuts so well, even though it's like it's a pretty thick blade stock, I would say, right? So let me see. Let me bring out the Strider SNG. Um, yeah, see the SNG is a little bit thicker, it seems. Let me see. I got the Spartan blades, Harsey. This feels actually very, very comparable in terms of their thickness. And then let me bring out my latest Chris Reeve. Let me see here. Yeah, I think the Hinderer is gonna win. It's a little thicker, but anyways, it is on the thicker end, but it actually slices very, very well. And I'm not even like really like trying to say like, oh, like it's cuts okay. Like actually cuts really well. And so I'm a firm believer in the way that they've really, you know, heat treated this S45 VN. Like I said, the edge retention seems really spot on for this, this blade steel. God, just an overall, guys, just been such a joy to carry, to use. Um, yeah. Anyways, that is kind of like my longer term review of this guy. I don't know if I'm gonna switch out the scale. I know people have been saying, "Hey, switch out the clip," to what do you call it, tip up carry, or tip down carry, or whatever have you. But I just haven't had really a chance to do so. But honestly, this doesn't feel that bad. I don't know why folks prefer this. What do you call it? Is it the tip up carry, right? Maybe I think it's because it's easier to kind of, take out the hand. It's like it lands in a more natural kind of position, so you could just kind of open it up, right? So, for example, this is like a tip up carry, right? So maybe that's what it is. I don't really prefer one way or the other. I would prefer it a one way or the other if it felt weird in the hand. But honestly, even like this, I don't really feel the clip all that much, and so yeah, I haven't really had a reason to have to change it up yet. What else can I say about this guy? Man, I don't know. It's just been an amazing knife, just an amazing knife. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any comments or questions, just drop them down below. All right? Take care, guys.